Turn over the fermented drink in your refrigerator and read the back label. Not the front, the back. If the bottle promises better digestion, stronger immunity, more energy, clearer skin and a happier mood, but one of the first ingredients is added sugar, you may not be buying what you think you are buying. That is the first truth about fermented drinks. The healthiest looking bottle in the store is not always the healthiest one. And here is the second truth. Some fermented drinks contain live cultures. Some no longer do. Some are nourishing foods. Some are little more than sweet soda wearing a lab coat. If you are over 50 and you deal with bloating after meals, sluggish digestion, constipation, unpredictable bathroom habits, or that heavy feeling that follows you through the afternoon, you have probably heard the same advice again and again. Drink something fermented. Sounds simple, but which one? Kefir? Kombucha? Kvass? A probiotic yogurt drink? A ginger tonic? Something with a mysterious culture floating inside it, like a science project. Today, I am walking you through 20 fermented drinks from around the world. You will learn which ones may support digestive comfort, which ones offer real nutrition, which ones can quietly overload you with sugar or sodium, and which drink I would choose first for versatility. Stay with me until the end, because number one is not kombucha. It is less familiar to most Americans, it does not require dairy, and it exposes one of the biggest marketing myths in the fermented drink aisle. Before we begin, one clear note. This video is educational and is not medical advice. Fermented drinks can be part of a healthy diet, but they do not cure disease instantly, and they do not replace your doctor, medication, or medical treatment. If you have a weakened immune system, uncontrolled diabetes, liver disease, kidney disease, severe digestive problems, pregnancy, or you take several medications, speak with a qualified healthcare professional before using homemade or unpasteurized fermented drinks. Now let us talk about why this subject matters so much after 50. You wake up and your stomach already feels slightly heavy. You drink coffee. By mid-morning, your waistband feels tighter than it did when you got dressed. Lunch is not even large, yet an hour later, your belly feels swollen. You hear rumbling. Maybe there is gas. Maybe there is pressure. Maybe you begin planning the rest of the day around the nearest restroom. That changes more than digestion. You start avoiding certain restaurants. You skip social meals because you do not know how your stomach will react. You stop eating before a long drive. You look at every food and wonder, is this going to bother me? Then you walk into an American grocery store and see a wall of promises. Raw, organic, live cultures, billions of probiotics, gut-friendly, naturally fermented. The labels are green, the bottles are expensive, the fruit pictures look fresh enough to have their own personal trainer. You pick one and hope that this time your gut has finally met its hero. Here is the problem. The word fermented does not automatically mean probiotic. Fermentation means microorganisms changed the food or drink. They may consume some of the sugar and create acids, gases, flavors, or small amounts of alcohol. A probiotic product is more specific. It must contain living microorganisms that have been shown to provide a benefit when consumed in a useful amount. Those ideas overlap. They are not identical. A drink can be fermented and then heated. The flavor may remain, the acidity may remain, some compounds created during fermentation may remain, but the living cultures may be gone. That does not make the product worthless. It simply means you should not pay extra while imagining that a living microbial army is marching into your intestines. There is another myth worth removing early. The bacteria and yeast in a fermented drink do not necessarily move into your gut and stay forever. Many pass through. Some influence the digestive environment only while they are there. The effect depends on the exact microorganisms, the amount you consume, your health, your diet, and the condition of your gut before the drink ever arrives. Your microbiome is not an empty apartment waiting for one bottle of kombucha to move in and redecorate. It is closer to a crowded city. New visitors may influence traffic. They may change what nearby organisms are doing. They may stay briefly, but they do not automatically become permanent residents. From an herbalist's point of view, fermentation is not mystical. It is transformation. Milk becomes tangy. Sweet tea becomes sharp. Fruit peel becomes fizzy. Grain water becomes sour. People learn to work with these changes long before anyone could name a bacterium or see yeast through a microscope. They watch the temperature, smell, foam, texture, and passing days. That old knowledge deserves respect. It does not deserve blind worship. A traditional drink may carry valuable food wisdom and still be too salty for one person, too sweet for another, or unsafe when prepared carelessly. A modern product may use controlled cultures and still make claims far beyond what the drink can deliver. That is why I look at both sides: the plant, the grain, the milk, the herb, the culture, and the label. Nature does not need exaggeration to be useful. Let us begin with the drinks most Americans can find without searching 3 specialty stores and a farmer's market. Number 20 is drinking yogurt. A good drinking yogurt can provide protein, calcium, vitamin B12, and live cultures. For someone over 50 who struggles with breakfast or has a smaller appetite, that can be useful. But this shelf is full of traps. One small bottle may contain several teaspoons of added sugar. Another may list 2 servings, even though almost everyone drinks the whole bottle in one sitting. The label may show strawberries. The actual strawberries may have made only a brief appearance during manufacturing. Turn the bottle around. Look at protein. Look at added sugar. Look for live and active cultures. Then check the real serving size. A plain or lightly sweetened drinking yogurt can be a practical food. A heavily sweetened version may be closer to dessert. The bacteria do not cancel the sugar. Number 19 is Ayran. Ayran is a simple yogurt-based drink common in Turkey and nearby regions. It usually contains yogurt, water, and salt. No bright fruit flavour, no expensive botanical blend, no dramatic story. Just a cool, tangy drink, often served with food. Ayran may provide protein and calcium, depending on the recipe. It can also replace soda or sweet tea at lunch. That is a real advantage. The warning is sodium. Some commercial versions are very salty. If you have high blood pressure, heart failure, kidney disease, swelling, or your clinician has told you to limit sodium, read the label carefully. Fermentation does not erase salt. Ayran also teaches a useful lesson. A fermented drink does not need to taste sweet to be satisfying. For many people over 50, reducing liquid sugar may help more than chasing the fanciest probiotic on the shelf. Number 18 is doogh. Doogh is related to Ayran and comes from Iranian and neighbouring food traditions. It may contain mint or other herbs and sometimes has a light sparkle. Picture a hot afternoon. You sit down to a savoury meal. Instead of cola, someone sets down a chilled herbal yogurt drink. That is doogh at its best. Mint can make the drink feel fresher. Herbs can add aroma without adding sugar. But mint does not turn doogh into medicine. And once again, sodium matters. Some bottles contain far more salt than a person expects from a drink. There is another question to ask. Does the product require refrigeration? If it sits on the shelf for months, it may have been treated after fermentation. That can improve safety and shelf life, but it may also mean the living cultures are no longer present. A stable bottle can still be enjoyable. It is not automatic proof of probiotic activity. Number 17 is lassi. Lassi comes from the Indian subcontinent and appears in many forms: sweet, salty, spiced, fruit-based. The version most Americans recognise is mango lassi. It can be delicious. It can also contain enough sugar to function as a full dessert. That does not make it forbidden. It makes it something you should understand. A traditional salted lassi may use yogurt, water, cumin, mint, ginger, or other seasonings with little added sugar. That version belongs in a completely different nutritional category from a giant restaurant mango drink. If you want lassi as part of a healthier routine, begin with plain yogurt and water. Add spices or herbs for flavour. Keep sweeteners modest. Fermentation may reduce some lactose, but it does not guarantee that every person with lactose intolerance will tolerate the drink. And lactose intolerance is not the same as milk allergy. Your body's response matters more than the drink's reputation. Number 16 is tan. Tan is another fermented yogurt drink found in Armenian and regional traditions. It is often diluted, salty, and sometimes carbonated. Tan is useful because it reminds us that fermented dairy can offer something many fruit ferments cannot: protein. That matters after 50. Protein helps maintain muscle. It also makes a drink more satisfying than sweet tea or soda. Yet tan can be high in sodium, and not every commercial version contains live cultures at the time you drink it. So the question is not, is tan healthy? The useful question is, does this bottle fit this person? That is how an herbalist should think, not in absolutes, in context. Digestive discomfort is personal. You can hide a headache. You can work through a mildly sore shoulder. But bloating, urgency, gas, or unpredictable bowel habits can control the entire day. You check where the restroom is before you sit down. You avoid long drives. You decline dinner invitations. You stop trying new food because your gut has become a suspicious security guard that rejects visitors without explanation. Then a bottle promises balance. Of course you want to believe it. That does not make you gullible. It makes you tired of feeling uncomfortable. The answer is not to mock hope. The answer is to replace vague hope with better questions. Now we reach the group with the strongest nutritional reputation. Number 15 is milk kefir. Kefir is made with kefir grains, though these are not grains like wheat or rice. They are small clusters where bacteria and yeast live together. They look a little like tiny pieces of cauliflower. When added to milk, the culture ferments some of the lactose and changes the flavour, texture and microbial profile. Plain milk kefir can provide protein, calcium, vitamin B12 and live cultures. That gives it an advantage over many fermented teas. Kefir is not just flavoured water, it is food. Some people with lactose intolerance digest kefir more easily than regular milk because fermentation reduces part of the lactose. That does not mean everyone will tolerate it. Milk allergy is different. If you are allergic to milk proteins, fermentation does not make those proteins disappear. The biggest commercial trap is added sugar. Strawberry kefir, vanilla kefir, peach kefir. Turn the bottle around. A plain version may taste sharp at first, but you can blend it with a few berries, cinnamon, or a small portion of fruit. Your taste buds adapt faster than marketing departments would like you to know. Number 14 is goat milk kefir. Goat milk kefir has a stronger flavour and a slightly different nutritional profile. Some people love it. Others take one sip and look as if the goat personally insulted them. Taste is individual. Goat milk is not automatically hypoallergenic. People with dairy allergy may still react to it. Some adults report that goat milk feels easier to digest, but that experience is not universal. The advantage is variety. If you dislike cow milk kefir, you may prefer the texture or taste of goat milk kefir. The disadvantage is cost. If the bottle costs 3 times more, it does not automatically work 3 times better. Your gut does not read the price tag. Number 13 is sheep milk kefir. Sheep milk is often richer than cow or goat milk. Depending on the product, it may contain more protein and fat. Shepherding communities used sheep and goat milk because those animals could thrive in places where cows were less practical. That history matters. Fermented milk was not created as a luxury wellness product. It was a way to preserve nourishment. Modern branding arrived much later. Sheep milk kefir can be satisfying in a small serving. It can also be expensive and difficult to find in a typical American supermarket. You do not need it. It is simply another example of how fermentation adapts to local food systems. Number 12 is cultured buttermilk. The name confuses people. Historically, buttermilk was the liquid left after butter was churned from cultured cream. Most American cultured buttermilk is made differently. Producers ferment milk with selected bacteria to create a thick, tangy product. Many people use it in biscuits, pancakes, and dressings rather than drinking it. Plain cultured buttermilk can still provide protein and calcium. Some versions may contain live cultures. Some may not by the time you consume them. Read the label. Check sodium too. The amusing part is that buttermilk sounds rich and heavy, yet many commercial versions are relatively low in fat. Names can mislead in both directions. A product that sounds indulgent may be simple. A product that sounds healthy may be dessert. Number 11 is fermented soy drink. Plant-based fermented drinks now fill entire refrigerated sections, but they are not nutritionally equal. Soy usually provides more protein than almond, coconut, or many oat-based drinks. A fermented soy beverage may offer useful protein and live cultures if it is produced and stored appropriately. Coconut-based drinks may be creamy but low in protein. Almond drinks may be mostly water. Oat drinks can be pleasant but may contain more carbohydrates and added oils. The carton may show green leaves, a sunrise, and a person who appears to have never experienced bloating in their life. Turn it around anyway. Look at the protein, look at the sugar, look at the cultures. A plant-based label is not a medical degree. Dose matters too. A spoonful, half a cup, and a 16-ounce bottle are not the same experience. Some people begin with a large amount because they assume more cultures must mean more benefit. Then they develop bloating or loose stool and call it detox. It may simply be too much, too fast. Your digestive system is not impressed by enthusiasm. Introduce a fermented drink the way you would introduce a new herb, carefully, one at a time, with enough patience to notice the response. That is less exciting than a 7-day gut reset. It is also much smarter. We are halfway through the list, and this is where the bottles become more deceptive. The next drinks are the ones Americans often buy specifically for gut health. They sparkle, they look alive, they come in dark glass with botanical labels. Some are useful, some are expensive sugar water with a dramatic origin story. And the final drink is still ahead. Number 10 is kombucha. Kombucha begins with sweetened tea and a culture of bacteria and yeast, often called a SCOBY. The SCOBY can look like a slippery pancake floating on the surface, not glamorous, biologically fascinating. During fermentation, microorganisms consume part of the sugar and create acids, gas, flavour compounds and small amounts of alcohol. The result is tart, fizzy and refreshing. Kombucha may contain living organisms if it has not been pasteurized or heavily filtered. It may also contain caffeine, residual sugar and alcohol. The amounts vary, a lot. One brand may be lightly sweet, another may contain enough fruit juice and sugar to resemble soda. One may require refrigeration, another may sit at room temperature. One may contain trace alcohol, another may continue fermenting in the bottle and produce more alcohol than expected. Kombucha is not one single product. The name describes a category. Not a guarantee. Human research on kombucha is still limited compared with the size of the claims surrounding it. Kombucha does not cleanse the liver. It does not cure diabetes. It does not erase a week of poor eating. It can be a satisfying replacement for soda if you choose a lower sugar bottle and tolerate the acidity. That is already useful. It does not need mythology. Number 9 is Jun. Jun is often described as a relative of kombucha made with green tea and honey. You may hear that it originated with Tibetan monks. People repeat that story constantly, but solid historical evidence is difficult to find. This is a perfect example of how fermented drinks collect legends. The more mysterious the origin, the easier it becomes to charge more. Honey changes the sugar source. Green tea changes the flavour and caffeine profile. The culture may behave differently depending on the process, but honey does not make a drink automatically healthier. Sugar is still part of fermentation. Some remains. Alcohol may form. Acidity rises. Jun can be floral and less sharp than some kombuchas. Treat it as fermented tea, not sacred medicine. Number 8 is tepache. Tepache is a traditional Mexican beverage commonly made with pineapple peel, water, sugar, and spices such as cinnamon. This is kitchen wisdom at its best. A part of the fruit many people throw away becomes the base of a flavourful drink. Tepache can be lightly fermented, gently fizzy, sweet and tangy. It may contain living microorganisms and small amounts of alcohol, but the content varies widely. Making it at home also creates room for mistakes. Pineapple peel carries environmental microbes. That helps start fermentation, but it also means cleanliness matters. Wash the fruit. Use clean equipment. Follow a tested method. Do not assume every bubble is a sign of health. Bubbles prove that gas formed. They do not carry a diploma in food safety. Tepache can be a refreshing occasional drink, but many recipes remain high in sugar. The longer it ferments, the flavour changes, yet sugar does not always disappear as completely as people imagine. Number 7 is ginger bug soda. A ginger bug is a starter made with ginger, water and sugar. Fed over time, it becomes active and bubbly. A portion of the starter can ferment sweetened tea or fruit liquid into a naturally carbonated drink. Watching it work is hypnotic. Tiny bubbles rise. The bottle becomes firm. The drink hisses when opened, and that beautiful pressure can become dangerous when ignored. Sealed bottles may build enough pressure to spray the kitchen, launch a cap, or break glass. Use bottles designed for carbonation. Refrigerate at the correct time. Open them carefully. Ginger adds flavour and plant compounds, but fermented ginger soda is not a concentrated medical dose of ginger. It does not treat infection. It does not erase inflammation. It may be a better homemade alternative to commercial soda if it is prepared safely and not overloaded with sugar. Number 6 is Sima. Sima is a Finnish fermented drink, often made with water, sugar, lemon, yeast and raisins. It is traditionally associated with spring celebrations. Sima is interesting culturally. Nutritionally, it often remains a sweet drink. That is not a scandal. Not every traditional fermented beverage was created to improve the microbiome. Some were made for pleasure, some for celebration, some for preservation, some became mildly alcoholic. Wellness culture often forgets this. Ancient does not mean medicinal. Fermented does not mean low sugar. Traditional does not mean appropriate every day. Sima can be enjoyed as a cultural beverage. It should not be sold as a digestive treatment. Now we leave the fashionable bottles and move toward grains, roots and household ferments. Number 5 is bread kvass. Kvass is traditional across parts of Eastern Europe and is often made from rye bread or grain. It may be lightly sour, mildly sweet and gently carbonated. Traditional versions can contain small amounts of alcohol. Commercial versions vary dramatically. Some are truly fermented. Some are flavoured soft drinks that imitate kvass. Some are pasteurised. Some contain plenty of sugar. Read the label. Bread kvass shows how fermentation can rescue stale bread and transform it into something new. That is clever food culture. But if the final bottle contains a large amount of added sugar and no living cultures, the word traditional does not change the chemistry. Enjoy it as a beverage. Do not treat it as a cure. Number 4 is beet kvass. Beet kvass usually combines beets, water, salt and fermentation. The colour alone makes it look powerful. Deep ruby, earthy, almost medicinal. That appearance has inspired claims about liver cleansing and blood purification. The drink does not wash the liver like soap. Your liver already performs its own chemical work. Beets contain nutrients and plant pigments. Fermentation may create acids and living cultures when the drink is prepared correctly. Beet kvass can also contain a great deal of sodium. The flavour is intense. A small serving may be enough. People with kidney disease, sodium restrictions, or certain kidney stone risks should discuss regular use with a qualified professional. And homemade beet kvass requires care. A beautiful colour is not proof of safety. Number 3 is kanji. Kanji is a traditional North Indian fermented drink often made with black carrots, mustard seeds, water, salt and spices. When black carrots are unavailable, some versions use red carrots or beets. Kanji looks dramatic, dark purple or red liquid, mustard aroma, a sour, spicy flavour that feels completely different from sweet American probiotic drinks. This is where the herbalist's eye notices the ingredients. Carrots, mustard seeds, spices, water. A simple formula changed by time and microorganisms. When prepared correctly, kanji may contain live lactic acid bacteria. The exact microorganisms and their numbers vary from batch to batch. Kanji should not be advertised as a cure for weak immunity or digestive disease. Its value may be simpler. It brings plant ingredients, fermentation and bold flavour into the diet without tasting like fruit candy. Number 2 is Rejuvelac. Rejuvelac is usually made by fermenting sprouted grains in water. It became popular in raw food communities and has been credited with enzymes, detoxification, rejuvenation, easier digestion and renewed vitality. That is a lot of responsibility for cloudy grain water. Good human evidence for those claims is still thin. The safety concerns are more concrete. Sprouting grains creates warm, moist conditions. Those conditions can support desired microorganisms. They can also support harmful ones. Clean seeds matter. Clean equipment matters. Temperature matters. Time matters. Rejuvelac is not the best beginner drink for someone with a weakened immune system or serious illness. It may be interesting as a grain ferment. It is not the drink I would choose first. And now we reach number 1. My top pick for versatility is water kefir. Water kefir is made with translucent clusters, often called water kefir grains or tibicos. They are different from milk kefir grains. They hold bacteria and yeast together in crystal-like clusters. Add them to sugar water, often with dried fruit or lemon, and fermentation begins. The microorganisms use part of the sugar. The drink becomes lightly tart and gently carbonated. After the first fermentation, it may be flavoured with ginger, berries, citrus peel, herbs or other ingredients. Why does water kefir take the top spot in this list? Not because science has crowned it the healthiest fermented drink on earth. Not because it works better for every person. Not because one glass permanently repairs the microbiome. It takes the top spot because of versatility. It does not require dairy. It does not contain tea-based caffeine, unless you add it. It can be flavoured with herbs and fruit. It can replace soda for some people. And it exposes one of the biggest marketing myths in the fermented drink aisle. A useful fermented drink does not need a luxury label. It does not need to cost $4 a bottle. It does not need to taste like vinegar. Water kefir may carry living cultures, but it still requires respect. Some sugar remains after fermentation. Small amounts of alcohol may form. Pressure can build inside bottles. The microbial profile changes from batch to batch. People with serious illness or weakened immunity should be cautious with homemade versions. Water kefir is food. Interesting, living food, not medicine. And that brings us back to the title. Which fermented drink heals you instantly? None of them. That answer may sound disappointing. It is actually freeing. You do not need to hunt for a miracle bottle. You need to understand what each drink offers. Milk kefir may offer protein, calcium, and cultures. Water kefir may provide a dairy-free fermented alternative to soda. Kombucha may offer flavour, acidity, and a satisfying replacement for a sweet, soft drink. Ayran may provide a savoury, yogurt-based option with a meal. Kanji may bring plant ingredients and fermentation into your routine. The value changes with the person, and the fastest benefit may have nothing to do with rebuilding the microbiome overnight. The fastest benefit may be the choice you make today. Replacing a large soda with a lower sugar drink. Choosing plain kefir instead of a sweet milkshake. Reading the label instead of trusting the front of the bottle. Starting with a few ounces instead of drinking half a gallon because somebody online promised a cleanse. That is immediate. Deeper changes take time. Your gut responds to the full pattern of your life. Fibre, plants, protein, sleep, movement, stress, medication. Fermented foods may contribute to that pattern, but they cannot carry the whole system alone. A bottle of kombucha cannot compensate for a diet with almost no vegetables. Kefir cannot repair chronic sleep deprivation. Water kefir cannot override uncontrolled diabetes. Food works best when it joins a sensible routine, and if you make fermented drinks at home, a recipe is part of the safety equipment. Do not improvise salt, sugar, temperature, or fermentation time, because one short video made the process look effortless. Use clean utensils. Use the correct vessel. Protect the culture from contamination. Learn what normal sediment, yeast, foam, acidity, and smell should look like for that specific drink. The white film that may be harmless in one ferment can mean trouble in another. A smell that is normal for cabbage may be wrong for milk. There is no single visual test for every fermentation. When you are unsure, throw it out. A lost batch is cheaper than a medical bill. Here is the simplest way to shop. Ask 5 questions. Does the product contain live cultures? Was it pasteurized after fermentation? How much added sugar is in the entire bottle? Does it contain caffeine, alcohol, or a large amount of sodium? And does it fit your body, health conditions, and medications? Start small. A few ounces may be enough to test tolerance. Do not introduce 4 fermented drinks in 1 week. If your stomach reacts, you will have no idea which drink caused it. Watch for bloating, heartburn, stool changes, headaches, skin reactions, or unusual fatigue. More discomfort is not proof that the drink is killing bad bacteria. That phrase has excused far too many bad reactions. If a drink repeatedly makes you feel worse, stop. If a homemade batch grows fuzzy mould, smells rotten, develops strange colours, or behaves in a way you do not understand, discard it. Do not scrape the top and hope for the best. Fermentation is controlled microbial growth. Spoilage is uncontrolled microbial growth. They are not the same hobby. For someone completely new, plain commercial milk kefir may be the easiest starting point if dairy is tolerated. For someone avoiding dairy, a carefully made commercial water kefir may be a reasonable experiment. For someone watching sugar, plain drinking yogurt or savoury fermented dairy may make more sense than fruit kombucha. For someone limiting sodium, Iran, Tan, Do and Beet Kvass may require extra caution. There is no universal winner. That may be the most useful truth in this entire video. The best fermented drink is the one with a clear ingredient list, a sugar level that fits your needs, a safety profile you understand, and a flavour you can enjoy without forcing yourself. Because choking down a sour drink you hate every morning is not a health plan. It is punishment with bubbles. Choose one. Try a small amount. Watch how your body responds. Keep the rest of your diet rich in plants and fibre, because the organisms already living in your gut need food too. Then make the habit boring enough to repeat. That is how useful routines survive. Which of these 20 drinks have you tried? Milk kefir, kombucha, kvass, kanji, water kefir? Write the name in the comments. And if you want a full step-by-step guide to water kefir, write water kefir. Subscribe for honest herbal and nutrition guidance without miracle claims, expensive hype, or bottles pretending to be doctors. Your gut does not need a miracle. It needs better information.